Good morning. Tech for Senior, episode 114. Oh my gosh, I'm feeling old. May the 30th, 2022. And welcome everyone. And we have on Memorial Day, we have 70 people coming to listen to us. Isn't that great? Thank you everyone for coming. Bob, we were all sitting here this morning talking in our pre-show warm-up, and there was nobody here, and we thought we were going to have a little chat. We're just have a little conversation this morning between us. But anyway, thank you all for coming. This is great. We have a good show for you today. For those of you who are new here, this is Tech for Senior. We have many different services. We also have a show on Thursday called Tech for Senior Live, where we go and we read the news from the past week, and we have a podcast as well. We also have this is taped. We tape our shows and put it on our YouTube channel. So if you want to go back and look at any of the services we have, that's all we tape it all. And we also have a premiere service or premiere event, which comes on at half past the hour. And this is where we take what happened a year ago and we make it available for you. But it's cut up for you to use with your club. And today we're going to be talking, Dewey is going to talk on Amazon Sidewalk. Ray's going to talk about the record store. And Hewie, of course, is going to talk on Facebook tips. All this at half past the hour. And I sent the link out in the newsletter. So we do, I mentioned the newsletter. We do have a newsletter. If you haven't seen our newsletter, please www.techforsenior.com, sign up for the newsletter, and we'll certainly get the newsletter out to you. And in there, I put not only do I put the link to the premiere service, but I also put our schedule. So on the Saturday schedule, Saturday newsletter, you'll see what we're going to do in the show on Monday. So I've been putting that in now. So you'll see the agenda for the Monday show. So if you want to know what we're going to talk about on Monday, ask some questions, then that's great. You can see that on the newsletter. So I think, yes, so I had a really good week. So you remember Anne-Marie was talking about this earlier. So last week we talked about tap and pay and the mobile Google Pay. Well, of course, I've been busy running around using Google Pay all week, tapping on my phone. So Gail and I were out for lunch. I got to tell you the story. Gail and I were out for lunch on Friday, and of course, when the bill came, I pulled out my phone, and of course, boom, tapped, used Google Pay to pay for it. So I said to the waitress, I said, isn't that cool? I said, do other people do this? Oh, she says, all the young people do, but I've never seen, and she was going to say an old person doing it, but then she immediately caught herself and she said, I don't see older people doing it. And so I wish I'd taped it. Oh my gosh. I said, I got to play that for our technology group on Monday. I said, that was priceless. Anyway, so just to let you know that it does work. And if you want to be young at heart and be a young person, you should be using the tap and pay. Bob's young, he's using it. And so he's young at heart, but don't be afraid of it. It's so simple to do. But a couple of things you need to know about it is if you have a Samsung phone, you need to use Samsung Pay. And if you have Samsung Pay, you can't use it on an Android phone. It only works on Samsung's phone. And if you have an iPhone, then you need to do Apple Pay. And it even gets more complicated. So I said this week to everyone, I was going to get my watch going, right? And I have the Galaxy Watch 4 and I have the Fitbit Sense. So I thought, okay, I got to get this going. So after a great deal of work, I realized that the Galaxy Watch 4, there has to use Samsung Pay, and Samsung will only pay if you're paired to a Samsung phone. So that was then I said, well, that's no problem. I'll use Google Pay on my Fitbit Sense. No, you have to use Fitbit Pay. So I am going to put Fitbit for next week. I am going to my goal is I'm going to put Fitbit Pay on my watch, and I want to go around and tap the watch, because then I don't have to get my wallet out. So I'll get my phone out, right? So I don't have to get the phone out. I can just use the watch to tap. I want to go back to that same waitress, and I want to say to her, I'm going to get her and I'm going to say, now look at this. And I'm going to tap it with my watch and see what she says. And now I wonder if a lot of young people use their watches as well. Anyway, that was my story this week. So we have a lot of people here to introduce today. Hewie and I were busy last Thursday doing learning Chromebooks. Turned out pretty good, eh, Hewie? What do you think?
Yeah, there was a slight pause in mine. I don't know if you caught it or not. There was a section that was just a black screen. What happened was I put a space there so I would have some room to put something, and I forgot to take it out. So I edited it on my website, but we need to probably edit it on the playback as well.
All right, we can do that. Anyway, turned out well, and so please come spread the word. We have a lot of fun. Bob was there. It's a busy day for us because we do, of course, Tech for Senior Live an hour before that, so it's a bit stressful. But other than that, it was.
Yeah, we even got some feedback from some people who can't make the meeting, the Learning Chromebooks live, but they did watch the recording and let us know. That was it. That was a great note, and thank you.
Yeah. And Bob, how are you doing today?
Just fine.
Mm-hmm.
No complaints. It's yeah.
Did you do anything for Memorial Day? Did you go out or do anything, or just stay home?
No, normally I would be going out for lunch to the senior center, but not today. Today is a day to think about those that gave the ultimate sacrifice, and the center is not open today.
Okay.
Because lots of people are having lots of barbecues today. So
yes. And Ray, how the heck are you doing?
Doing good, doing good. You know, Pine, this little community I live in, we love it, but except on major holidays, then the population almost triples, and everybody wants to come and visit. There's gift antique shops, and what is nice is our local library has not only a book sale, but they selling all kinds of CDs and DVDs for $1. And I'm going to talk next week about one my wife got for 33 cents.
There you go. There you go. Now, Dewey said not to bother him this morning because he's busy running around. He's doing a bunch of things. He's sort of listening with one ear. He said, don't bother me. I've got all these things I'm doing. And so, hello, Hewie or Dewey. We can certainly, we'll say hello to him, but he's not going to answer. And Bill James, unmute yourself and say something.
I have a similar story. I won't take time to do it, but I was at the barbershop and the guy asked me for some money, and I said, well, I don't have that much cash on me. Do you take a credit card? He says, no. And he says, do you have WhatsApp? And I said, well, yeah. He said, I can do that. And so one of the other barbers in there says, most of the young people do that.
I know. We got to get hip. We got to get in with this, and then we'll be young. Yeah. There you go. The other thing I wanted just to mention to everybody, just briefly before we start, on our Tuesday show or Thursday show, we talked a little bit about Magic Jack. Now, just to let everybody know, Bob and Hewie and I have had Magic Jacks since their inception in 2006. So we've had them for a very long time. But what we talked about, Magic Jack has a brand new service started, and it's Magic Jack Wireless. And we think they're probably on the backs of T-Mobile as an MNVO, which is a mobile network virtual operator, which is a service that they run through T-Mobile, and it's cheap. It's really cheap, and it's called Magic Jack Wireless. Don't go to the Magic Jack site because it's a different. I guess they've spun it off as a different company. You won't see it on the Magic Jack site. You'll have to type Magic Jack Wireless, and you'll see the pricing structure is pretty good. All I'm mentioning, if you are looking for a different phone provider, you're looking for maybe save some money on your SIM cards or your wireless, there's no contract. They don't charge you for the SIM cards. It looks like a pretty good deal. So you may want to have a look at that if you're looking to change your wireless service. All right, Bob, are you ready to roll?
I hope so. Here is the Avast Security News Roundup. for the week ending May 27th, 2022. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and get involved. Something new: pre-jacking attacks on social media. A new paper by the Microsoft Security Response Center explains account pre-jacking, where attackers open an account with the victim's email address and then lie in wait for the victim eventually to join the site. Once the victim joins the site and breathes life into the account, the attacker takes full control, icing out the victim from their own account. Researchers noted 5 variations of this attack: the classic federated merge attack, the unexpired session identifier attack, the Trojan identifier attack, the unexpired email change attack, and the non-verified IDP attack. For more on each, see Bleeping Computer. These are very smart techniques, taking advantage of weak security implementation in certain websites, commented vast security evangelist Louis Carones. Nevertheless, although the problem is not on the user side, there is something we can do to avoid these kinds of attacks. Always enable multi-factor authentication by requiring 2 methods to access your account. Multi-factor authentication keeps the user in control. Zola gift registry accounts hacked. Wedding gift registry Zola acknowledged in a tweet that hackers hijacked the accounts of several users. The news first came to light a few days ago when Zola users began posting on social media about the account takeover and multiple attempts by criminals to make purchases using the victim's info. The hackers used credential stuffing to access the accounts, but credit card and bank information were fortunately not exposed. As a matter of practice, cash funds have always been held in a protected separate account, a Zola spokesperson told TechRadar. As a result of the breach, Zola reset all users' passwords. This is certainly not good news. Digital driver's license forgeries not difficult. A security researcher discovered flaws in the New South Wales digital driver's license system that allows easy-to-execute forgeries. The Australian state began using the DDL system in 2019, giving citizens the option to show proof of identity and age at roadside police checks, bars, stores, hotels, and other venues. The only attack needed to breach the DDL system security is a brute force of the 4-digit PIN, of which there are only 10,000 combinations. Once the hacker is in and has changed the information on the driver's license, the DDL will still pass all security checks because the data stored locally is never checked against the back-end database. For more on this story, see Ars Technica. Ransomware Task Force reminds government there's more work to do. A year after the Ransomware Task Force provided a comprehensive framework for action to combat ransomware, the group reflected in a new paper on what has been accomplished and what still needs to be addressed. The task force is composed of more than 60 companies and organizations across government, nonprofits, and the private sector. Last May, the group made 48 recommendations for tackling the ransomware problem. Of those 48, only 12 have seen tangible progress. 29 have seen initial steps taken, and 7 have seen no action at all. For more on this story, see Cyberscoop. Zoom patches flaw allowing remote code execution. A Google Project Zero researcher found a number of holes in the Zoom client that could potentially allow attackers to launch remote code execution. But Zoom has patched the problem with version 5.10.0. User interaction is not required for a successful attack, the researcher wrote. The only ability an attacker needs is to be able to send messages to the victim over Zoom chat over XMPP protocol. By using a specially crafted message, Attackers could get Zoom clients to connect to a man-in-the-middle server that pushed a 2019 version of the Zoom client. For more, see ZDNet. Facial recognition company fined millions. Clearview AI Inc. faces a fine equal to about $9.5 million for unlawfully collecting images on social media to create a global database that could be used for facial recognition. Clearview AI Inc. is a facial recognition company that has illegally created a database filled with 20 billion images of people's faces and data. All of the information was scraped from publicly available social media pages and other internet sources. Clearview AI Inc. has collected multiple images of people all over the world, including in the UK from a variety of websites and social media platforms, creating a database with more than 20 billion images. John Edwards, UK Information Commissioner, said. Read the full story at Cyber News. This week's must-read on the Avast blog. While some refugees are able to grab identity documents upon being forced to flee their countries, others are left with no proof that they are who they say they are. Can digital identity help with the global refugee crisis? Read the article at the link listed. And that wraps up this week's Avast Security News Roundup. Stay safe, stay secure, and I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye. In this tutorial, we're going to talk about making things larger and making things smaller. I'm not going to cover all the ways that can be done, but I will use the two most common and easiest way to do those things. Let's face it, as we get older, our eyes aren't as good as they used to be when we were youngsters. That's for most of us. So to make things larger or smaller, when you're on the internet, remember the control key and the plus or minus key. When you hold down the control key and then use the plus key, things get bigger. You'll notice everything gets bigger. Graphics and text. When you hold down the control key and hit the minus key, everything gets smaller. Let's not go overboard. The second easy way to make things larger or smaller is to use the combination of control key and, on your mouse, the scroll wheel. When you go up, things get bigger. When you go down, things get smaller. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Hold down the control key and then use the wheel and go up to make things bigger. Use the control key and the wheel down to make things smaller. So those are the two basic and easiest ways to increase or decrease the size of everything on the internet. We don't always do things on the internet. Sometimes there are other things. I, for instance, do lots of things with PowerPoint and with Microsoft Word. And in Word and PowerPoint, the control key and the plus and minus, they don't work. But the control key and the mouse wheel up or down does. Let me show you. I've opened up a Word document. Now I'm going to depress the control key and again my mouse, the scroll wheel. As I go up, it gets bigger. As I go down, things get smaller. So that's one way to make things easy when you're reading something like Word or anything else for that matter on your desktop. The control key and the mouse scroll wheel works on almost all document files. As you see here, I have a notepad file open. Again, control and scroll up with the wheel and things get bigger. Scroll down with the wheel and things get smaller. Up is bigger, down is smaller. And then, of course, you can put it right to where you want. All you have to do is hold down the control key, and as long as you have the control key down, this will make things larger and smaller. If you let go of the control key, all this does is scroll through your document. Okay, so you have to remember, you need to depress the control key and then use that mouse scroll wheel. Those are the two simplest ways that I know of making text larger. And on the website, it'll make everything larger. Now, right now, I'm on my desktop, as you can see. Let me move this over a bit. The control key and the mouse wheel not only work on documents. I'm now on my desktop. And if I hold down the control key and scroll my wheel mouse up, you see what happens. It gets bigger. When I hold down the control key and scroll down, things get smaller again. So that's how you can also increase things, especially if you have small icons and you can't read them. Well, just hold down the control key and scroll up on that mouse wheel, and now it's no problem reading what it says. That's it for making things larger and making things smaller. I hope that helped. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Bob. That's a lot easier than using a magnifying glass.
Sure is.
That's good. Yeah, there you go, Hewie. You got your magnifying glass. Just before we get going with Ray, I just wanted to thank Karen Thornton and Terry Harvey for their generous donation to our coffee fund. So thank you so much for it helps pay the bills, and we do appreciate that. And Ray, where the heck? You're right there. There you are, right next to me.
Still here. I haven't
Still
got
there.
rid of me yet.
There you go. You're up.
Okay. Today I'm going to talk about a website called discogs.com. And this allows you to organize and determine the value of your music media collection. Now, I get asked this question all the time. Ray, I just inherited some old records from a relative, or somebody just gave me a bunch of CDs. How much are they worth? Well, now for those that may not be aware, vinyl records have made a huge comeback. For the last few years, new recordings released on vinyl LPs have outsold their CD counterpart, even though in most cases, the latter, meaning the CDs, are about half the retail price. Now, this has resulted in original record albums, as well as some 45 RPM discs, being in demand again. So, as I said, I'm often asked by friends and acquaintances if I can tell them how much their entire collection or just one record may be worth in today's marketplace. That's when I direct them to discogs.com. What is Discogs? Well, the word Discogs comes from the word discographies. And that's an organized list of an artist's songs, which will include dates the recordings were made, the chart positions the song may have reached, and other pertinent related information. Discogs.com is a website. It was launched way back in the year 2000 and is based up in Portland, Oregon. It contains a crowdsourced database. What does that mean? That means the information is input by the general public. So this database is of audio recordings that contain a variety of formats, including 78 RPM and vinyl discs, but also has cassettes, compact discs, and more. Now, while it's open to pretty much all types of genres in recent years, the focus has been on rock music. Listen to these numbers. Discog contains over 15 million releases by over 8 million artists from over 1.8 million recorded labels, record labels, and these numbers grow daily as users continually add previously unlisted releases to the site. So getting a Discogs account, it's free and easy. Creating a Discogs account allows the user to enter their music collection and then easily retrieve their database information as needed. And members can learn about the value in the marketplace for their collection and can create a want list for others to see. So if there's a particular music that you want and you haven't been able to find it anywhere, Discogs would be the place to go. You put that in your want list and you'll find others who have it and are willing to sell it. Statistics will tell, one, how many others have this recording in their collection, how many want it, when it was last sold, and the low, medium, and high prices paid. So Discogs has become the main go-to website for those looking to buy and sell their recorded music items. So how many formats can one song be on? Well, in our lifetime, we've seen songs of many singers reappear every time a new format is introduced. Of course, records, 8-tracks, cassettes, compact discs, and now new vinyl LPs. Consider that recorded music has been pretty much always an international business, with many releases packaged for sale in multiple countries all over the world. So when you add your media to Discogs, you need to make sure you are adding the correct release, because the value can vary depending on this information. And the steps to enter your music item: the first time you go to Discogs, you'll need to create a free account, and thereafter the site will remember and bring you to the sign-on page. The home page provides instructions and guidelines for first-time users. And then clicking on the dashboard icon brings you to the items you've already entered for your existing collection. The search feature allows you to quickly determine where a particular song may be in your collection, such as when the song you're looking for is on a compilation CD. Let me show you how this works. All right, let's assume that you've created a free Discogs account and you've signed in. What you're going to see now first is this welcome page. And if you look just under the web address here, there's a search box, and it gives you the ability to search by artist or by album, other ways. What I found that works best for me is I search by the album catalog number. You're going to find that usually printed on the back cover or the edge of the album sleeve. And for me, that's the best way to get started. So my wife is a huge fan of David Bowie, and she has one of there's many LPs by him, but one of them has this number, PJ-17267. So I'm going to put that in here in the search box, PJ-17267, and if I hit enter, it'll now give me a listing, and there's 38 different releases of this one particular album. Some of them may have been on cassette, compact disc, etc. I'm of course interested in the one that was an LP album. So as I look down, the very first choice here tells me it was released, this particular version, in Canada. Well, I know my wife didn't buy it there, nor did she buy it in the Philippines. But here's one from the USA, and I'm going to click on it. And up, that again, if you click on the artist name, here's an example where they'll give you all kinds of information about David Bowie and all of his different releases. But I'm actually going to go back and this time not click on the artist name, but click on the name or the title of this LP, which is Never Let Me Down. And up shows that it was, yes, issued by EMI America. Here's the number. If I really want to make sure this is the exact same album, what I can typically do is go to more images and then bring up an image of the actual record and then compare it with the record that I have. And yes, this is identical, so I know this is the correct release. So here is the track listing of the different songs on side A and side B, and lots of other information as I scroll down towards the bottom, different kinds of notes. And but here's the side that you're going to be interested in now. Over here, it tells me statistics, and the statistics have to do with pricing. So this LP on Discogs, one copy of it most recently sold in February of this year. But over time, it's showing me the different prices. $5 as the low end, the median of $8.50 and a high price of just under $30. And the reason those prices vary and they have those categories, that all has to do with the condition of the LP. If it's coming apart, if there's tears on it, if somebody wrote their name on it, that all brings down the value considerably. But if it's pristine, if it looks very similar to the record as well as the sleeve, the way it looked the day it was bought, new and opened up for the first time to play, then that's when you're going to get those higher prices. And there's a way that record sellers rate their, not only again the records, but the sleeves they came in with terms like VG, which would stand for very good, VG plus, near mint, or fair. A whole slew of categories you can find online what the exact meanings are as to how individuals will judge the quality and condition of the record. But anyway, what we've come up with here now is I now know that this one particular LP is worth about, I always go with the median price, $8.50. So this is the way I tell people when they ask me, well, how much are my records worth? Use Discogs to go in, find the exact album, and this could be, as I said, this could be a compact disc. This could be 45 RPM records, any kind of media that relates to music. If you have it on that media, you'll find information about it on Discogs. So hope this was helpful, and I'm going to stop recording. See you soon. And that's what Discogs can do for you and is all about.
That's pretty cool. Can you take your cell phone and scan the QR code then? And
yes, you can actually, on most albums from about the mid-80s on have QR codes on them. So yes, you can use your cell phone or a QR reader connected to your computer, and that for sure will bring up the exact release.
Hey, cool. Thank you. All right. Hewie, are you ready to roll?
Absolutely. Calibre and Kindle on your PC or Mac. I'm Hewie Poplock. Today I'm going to be talking about the Kindle app and the Calibre app. This started out to be just Calibre, but I realized that Calibre doesn't do everything I thought it did. So let's talk about each of those. The Kindle app you get from Amazon because Kindle is an Amazon product. Kindle is a reader that you purchase to read ebooks. You might want to read your books on other devices or keep track of them, or take books that are on other devices and move them to your Kindle device. In order to do that, you need some tools. One of them is the Kindle app. The other is Calibre. And Calibre is a one-stop solution to all your ebook needs, according to their website. Kindle is a device you buy from Amazon to read books and other publications. We're not going to go into all of the different ones or how to do it. I don't own a Kindle. However, I do have some Kindle books. How do I get to those books? Well, in my Amazon account, the way I have found to do it, and there's probably easier ways to do it, but I go to Kindle Unlimited, which I am not a subscriber, but I can go to Manage Content and Devices. In the digital content, you can see all of the books that I have purchased, most of them free, but you still have to purchase them even though it's a zero amount from Amazon. Let's take this book, Deliver or Remove from Device. I want to deliver it to my Kindle for PC 6, which is the latest version. So I have all of these books now in my Kindle PC app. So let's take a look at Kindle PC. In all, I have 17 ebooks in my library. I downloaded 16 of them, and one is a PDF. Let's just take one of them just so you can see. Opening a book in the Kindle app on a PC, I can go to the table of contents. I can go all the way to the top. I can see what the cover looks like. I can go to the introduction. I can go to any of the recipes. The recipes are here. As I scroll down, I can go from recipe to recipe. I can go back to the library, and then these are all of the books, again, in my Kindle PC library. If I had a Kindle, these would be on my Kindle as well. The Calibre app is downloadable as a Windows, Mac, Linux portable, as we talked about last week, and a Windows 64-bit. Calibre does not run on Android or iOS. You can connect your computer to those devices and get the information from Calibre that way. When you open up Calibre, it's going to look like this. There is one ebook already installed in the program, and it's a guide to Calibre. My original idea was to show you how to get your books from your Kindle app and put them in Calibre so you can convert them to anything you want. However, because of DRM, or digital rights management, it can't be done easily. There are ways to do it. You have to download a much older version of Kindle and some plugins for Calibre in order to make that work. That's another story, another day. However, the whole purpose of Calibre is to be able to have any of your books or documents be able to be converted into a format that Kindle can read and upload it to your Kindle device. But let's take a look at what you can do with Calibre. One of the things you can do is you can add books. In order to add a book or books from your Kindle library, what you'll have to do is go to add folders and subfolders, and you're going to assume all ebooks in a single folder on multiple formats the same book. We're going to go to the My Kindle Content folder, which is the folder where the Kindle app stores your books. And we're going to say select that folder. It's going to convert whatever it can, but a lot of the books it can't because of that DRM, or the digital rights management copy protection. But it will get some from there that may not have that built in. It does take a while. It's reading the metadata and adding to the library. Because of copy protection, not all of the books were converted and downloaded to Calibre, but you will notice there are some. There's a 2-hour guide to mastering Evernote, for instance. I'm going to click on it. You're going to see over on this side, it has a picture of the cover, and it has some information there. It's now opening the book, and it's in AZW format. There is the title of the book, and as I scroll down, you can see the book page by page. There is the book. I can view from here. I can convert this particular book. Let's convert it to an EPUB, but we're just going to say OK. You can see down here that it is working. You will see now that it added EPUB to the formats, and now we have an EPUB of that book. If I click here, it not only gives us the EPUB, it also gives us a lot of information about the book, when it was published, when it was modified, then it loads the book. And we have the book again. And we can edit that metadata. You can change it, add to it, and so on. You can get books. Calibre helps you find books, and it goes out to various sources. And you can search for books by title. You can fetch news. There's not a lot of US choices in English. It's only 2. But let's go ahead and look at, since we have a lot of Canadian people on here, let's look here. You have quite a bit here. And let's just take the CBC Canada, and we're going to say download now. And OK. You'll see that it's working. It's now added it. It did take quite a while, several minutes. And when we open this, we see that it's an EPUB format. Let's go ahead and open it. It's now open. As we scroll down, you've got several topics. If we go to any one of these, you can click on the articles and open up the articles, and you can then take this, because it is in an EPUB format, you can upload it to your Kindle and be able to read the news on your Kindle or whatever other articles or books that you have in Calibre. You can, via wire, or you connect to your Kindle device and upload them. So if it connect with your Calibre and your Kindle, if you want to upload a book to your Kindle, if it's not in the right format, Calibre will note that and convert it for you so that your Kindle can read it. So if you're a Kindle user, Calibre is something you ought to have on your PC to be able to download other books and then upload them and put them on your Kindle device and then carry that with you to read the particular books or article. What I discovered in putting this presentation together contradicted what I thought I was going to be presenting to you. I thought I was presenting reading your Kindle books on your PC using Calibre. You use the Kindle PC app for reading Kindle books, but if you want to read other books on your Kindle device, you would use Calibre to keep track of all of those and then upload them to your Kindle device. I hope this helped if you're a Kindle user. I'm Hewie Poplock.
And Bob, you're up.
Okie dokie. Let's spend a few minutes talking about how license plate scanners challenge our data privacy. There's a massive amount of data in private hands and without sufficient controls by the government. As more communities install automated license plate readers to monitor vehicle traffic, there are growing concerns about the privacy and efficacy of these tools. Stories have appeared in local newspapers, such as those in St. Louis, Louisville, and Akron, that document the rapid rise of Flock license plate camera data and how it can be a central source of vehicle movements. My thanks to David Strom for his revealing article on this topic. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and get involved. These stories highlight some of the privacy implications of APLRs and recall some of the same issues with the growth of other massive private data collections. But first, let's describe what's going on with these APLR systems, which have actually been around for nearly a decade. In the past, license plate readers were expensive and limited to places that had power but no real-time online access. That has changed with the latest companies such as Flock and Motorola Solutions, who recently acquired Vigilant Solutions. These companies have disrupted the APLR market by having less expensive cameras that connect via cellular broadband and use solar cells to recharge their batteries. This means that the cameras can be installed just about anywhere, and the data can be quickly uploaded to a central cloud repository. This results in a potent combination, and it's why these new systems have become popular. Flock now captures more than 1 billion vehicle images a month throughout its network of more than 1,400 communities and 500 police departments across the U.S. One community in the St. Louis suburbs is using Flock to monitor major egress points in its subdivision. This is one of the company's major selling points, preventing crime. However, this claim might not entirely be true. An audit done by 2 non-profit consultants found that APLR cameras weren't effective at deterring vehicle theft. When studying APLR data from 2013 from the nearby city of Piedmont, they found that less than 0.3% of license plate reader hits led to any criminal leads. With so many plates being scanned, it's crucial to understand how Flock and the other APLR vendors collect and share their data. Communities who purchased Flock cameras were effectively buying and installing surveillance devices, not just for themselves, but for the authorities as well. adding their cameras to a nationwide network searchable by the police, states a recent ACLU report. The report mentions some other issues. There are no legal checks and balances on the use of this data by Flock or any other private company. The ACLU cites several abuses by employees of Ring, sharing images from its front door cameras as one such example of a potential abuse. The consequences of errors. No optical character recognition system is perfect, and these errors could result in police making traffic stops on innocent people. The Louisville story, cited above, found several police departments who have been taken to court on various mistakes made when using these systems. This is how the data is eventually shared. Several years ago, the ACLU found that more than 80 law enforcement agencies in 12 states were sharing their license plate data with the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Flock claims it automatically deletes data that is more than 30 days old, and while that may be true at the moment, there is no guarantee that that pattern will continue in the future. Even so, the ACLU says people can engage in a lot of perfectly legal yet private behavior within 30 days. Movements that would reveal things about their political, financial, sexual, religious, and medical lives that nobody in the police or in a company like Flock has a right to track. They recommend much shorter retention periods, such as a few minutes, to better preserve privacy. We need to realize that organizations are interested in more than just our license plates. The issue of our personal information being shared has much larger consequences. To take data collection up a notch, let's look at companies collecting our DNA. I'm specifically talking about private DNA databases and genetic testing services that have become popular during recent years. As Gary Kasparov asked in a previous post on this topic, how much of this field do we want to turn over to public oversight, and how much should remain in the hands of private companies? And this is exactly the dilemma faced by Flock and other APLR vendors. But at least with the DNA data, you can opt out of providing private information if you have the presence of mind to do so when you sign up for the service. We mentioned this in our post on data privacy and MyHeritage DNA. That post describes the idea that one's not very well thought out online choices could have unforeseen consequences for future generations. This point was brought home after I finished watching the Netflix documentary Our Father, in which a fertility doctor inseminated his patients without telling them. 100 of his offsprings were eventually able to locate each other through genetic testing databases. And just like the license plates, our genetic data is valuable to organizations including law enforcement, pharmaceutical labs, and app developers. But unlike our DNA, we can't easily opt out of the ALPR systems. Some communities will remove your data upon your request, but most of us probably won't take the time or even know when our movements have been recorded. And then there is another problem with the license plate data: transparency. Our local police may be completely transparent about how they retain and delete your data, but that may not matter if another police department isn't transparent or has different policies. Some U.S. states have begun to recognize these issues with implementing privacy laws, but this remains an active legal area. As the ACLU report predicts, the rapid uptake of police and community customers of the APLRs doesn't bode well for future privacy concerns. Albuquerque, New Mexico, A city close to where I live has just implemented some license plate scanners. Many of us aren't happy about the move. They should have learned from the last time that it doesn't collect the revenue the city expects, but will most likely result in new lawsuits. Stay safe, stay secure, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.
Thanks, Bob. I got a few questions to ask you about that, but we'll do it in the Q&A.
Yep.
And Ray, just before we get started with your music, I just want to thank everyone over on our YouTube feed for coming. Remember, I put in our premiere service will start at 1:30. And today we have, of course, Dewey talking on Amazon Sidewalk. Ray is going to talk on the record store, and Hewie will talk on Facebook tips. Thank you for coming. And Ray, I'll stop the feed now if you want to get going.
Here we go. High School USA. This is going to explain to you a creative way to make a hit song. And I decided on this today because with the end of the current school year approaching, I thought I'd focus on a novelty song from the late 50s that used a unique approach to garner increased sales. Okay, the year is 1959. Virginia native Tommy Facenda has moved on from his role as a backup vocalist with Gene Vincent's band, the Blue Caps. They're of Bebop Alula fame. And he's now in New York City, where he meets the head of LeGrand Records. Facenda is asked to record a novelty song entitled High School USA, in which the song lyrics contain the names of many local high schools from his home state of Virginia. I'm guessing the logic was teenagers there would rush out to buy the song when they heard their high school's name mentioned. Now, Atlantic Records then acquires the rights to this song, but they realized for this concept to be successful on a national level, the names of the high schools would have to be local to large cities or even entire states. They bring Facenda back into the recording studio where he re-records High School USA multiple times, with the only lyric changes being the names of the high schools mentioned. In the end, Facenda recorded 28 regional versions of this song. Now, the gimmick worked. It became a nationwide hit, reaching number 30 on the R&B charts and 28 on Billboard charts. For tabulation purposes, all regional versions were combined into one chart listing. So today you can buy on Amazon the High School USA compact disc, which contains all these versions. Not too surprising, YouTube does not offer every version. So for today, I've picked Philadelphia, mainly because I like the video that goes along with the song. So even hearing just one version, you'll quickly get the concept. 28 times he recorded the same song. 28 times.
Amazing. Thanks, Ray. That's pretty wow. Yeah, you always come up with the greatest songs. That's great. Thank you so much. I guess it's pretty much top of the hour now, getting close. I want to thank everyone for coming. It is your enthusiasm that keeps us going. For those of you, we will be starting the Q&A shortly. Just remember that, and for the premiere service, I put the link in the chat for everyone. If you want to watch the show. And don't forget, Tech for Senior Live this Thursday. We also record these episodes, so if you the edited version will be with Hewie's abridged or updated talk today. I'll put the recording in and fix that up, and it should be up later on today. Just before we get to Greg's question, I had a couple of questions for Bob. Bob, the license plate scan. So in British Columbia now, this is the first year, this is the first time where we don't have to put tags or anything on our license plates. And that's all changed because, of course, the police cards, as they go around, they have software that scans all the license plates, stores them, and can tell if you've done your insurance or whatever. It's all linked in. Is that the same system that you're talking about?
Yeah, you got it. They use pretty much the same all over the place.
Yeah, it's interesting. So they record everything. Yeah, they record.
Yep.
So they don't actually look at plates anymore. The computers do it all.
Correct.
Interesting.
And-
Yeah.
And
The other thing I
record a
wanted,
lot more. They record a lot more than just your license plate,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it's passed. They share amongst different
amongst them. Yeah,
departments. So
yeah,
this is
yeah,
where the problem comes in.
yeah. Interesting. The other one was I just want to tell everybody about Google Pay. I forgot to mention this earlier. In Canada, in Costco now, this is the time when they've changed their credit cards. So we're all getting new credit cards, right? The old ones have gone, and I got mine this week and activated it. And Google Pay, I went to bed one night, and after I activated it, and thought, well, tomorrow morning I got to get up and change it in the Google Pay app, right? Well, I woke up the morning and I went to do it, and it was already done. Google Pay was so smart; it figured out, put the new credit card in, and deleted the old ones. So I didn't have to do that. So I thought, well, how do they know that? Anyway, Google knows all, right?
That's scary too.
Yeah, well, I didn't have to do it, right? So it was perfect. All right, Greg, go ahead. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, in the United States, it's Memorial Day, so thanks for all the veterans, wherever you guys are in each country. Thanks for your service. And the other thing I want to make a comment on that license plate in the police vehicles, they can set the screen in the police car to buzz if the computer picks it up. And so they don't even have to look at it. All the computer does is just highlights it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And it knows if you got insurance or you don't have insurance.
If you're a bad driver or not.
That's right. It all does it by computer. So I guess it gives them more as they're going around looking.
How many outstanding warrants, so on and so forth. All of that will be a part of it.
Yeah. Gordy, go ahead.
Yeah, Ron, wanted to follow up on your Google Pay. I have been
You
using
use Apple Pay, right? Tell us about that.
Yeah, I've been using that for several years, and I watched your episode last week, and a lot of the things that you covered there on Google Pay are very much the same with Apple Pay. One of the differences is when you're holding your iPhone next to the reader, you have to double click the button on the right side. So that triggers the transaction. And then it does a quick face ID to make sure you are the person handling this device, another security feature. And then the transaction goes through quite quickly. The other thing I wanted to mention is I have your comment last week also covered, well, what if they take your credit card and what are they doing with that information? And that's a concern for me too. I'm bothered by that. But I have seen where on the receipt, the bill that you get for, let's say, a meal at a restaurant, that they are now putting QR codes on the bottom of that bill. And you can scan that QR code, and that'll take you then to a site, and you can pay through Apple Pay using that QR code. I would imagine the same is true for Google Pay or Samsung Pay.
So Gordy, when Google Pay goes, it sends a ID. It sends a what do they call it? A transit temporary number, to identifying number to the merchant, and that's all they get. They just get this long code, which is they don't get your name, they don't get anything. They have no idea who you are. They just get this particular code, which is the only identifier they have back to you. And that's why I think that the Google Pay, Apple Pay, Samsung is so much better, is because you're not actually giving anybody. We all go to these craft fairs and everybody's got these little scanners and readers, and they all want to put your credit card in, and they all want to take all this information. And the question is, where does that all go? But if you're using Google Pay, Apple Pay, or Samsung Pay, they don't get any of that. It's just a code that goes to the reader.
Yeah, that is correct. And it's all encrypted.
Right. Correct. So I think, in fact, if you go back and you say to them, and you go back maybe a week later, you say, I lost my receipt, I bought this here, and they'll say, well, just a minute, they can't look you up because it's just a number, right? They have
Right.
no way of, it's just a number that's there that doesn't identify. So that's why I think it's so much better. It's actually the same system that PayPal uses in online services, because they use that, again, the vendor doesn't know who you are. So that's why I think it's something that you've been using it a long time. I feel embarrassed, like I'm at the restaurant and the waitress says, oh yeah, all young people have been doing that forever. Well, come on, you guys, we got to get with this. We got to get with this. Bob, of course, is young at heart. He's been doing this as well. But really, it's a technology no one should be afraid of. You should be doing it. It's inherently more secure, and it works perfectly. So I don't.
Yeah, my friends of similar age, they're like that too. I said, hey, do this.
Yeah,
This
do
is
it, yeah.
easy. It's secure.
Yeah,
And they
It
come
is-
in with
it is-
into the restaurant and they got a wad of change with them, and you're going through that whole process. It's
Right.
like, why don't? And during COVID, it was a bigger deal. You don't
Right.
want to touch the money,
that's right.
get the virus. So
That's right.
And
Yeah.
it's safer than using your credit card.
yeah,
It is.
Yeah.
And the other thing is with, we still have COVID as a problem. And when they bring that terminal around, for you to, pay at the restaurant, could be just be tapped by or touched by somebody who, has had COVID. So using your phone is a perfect situation for that. Now, but Gordy, don't you have the Apple Watch? I thought you had an Apple Watch.
yeah, I do. I have one also.
Don't you do it on the watch as well?
I haven't tried it. I'll do that.
You should, because that's the point is you don't even have to get your phone out then, right? Your phone can stay in wherever your phone is and just tap it with the watch. I think the watch is a cool idea.
Yeah, I haven't tried that. I'll do so.
Let me know how it works out. I'm going to do mine this week. I'm going to get my Fitbit Pay going, and I'm going to go and I'm going to do it at the same airport. I got to go to the airport Wednesday morning, and it's nice and quiet there. I know the person, so I don't look like I get really nervous when I do this. So I'm going to take some pictures and I'll report next week on how my Fitbit Sense works for that.
Okay.
You come next week and let me know how your Apple Pay works. I think it's all set up. It's all on your watch. Anyway, I think the Apple Pay synchronizes with your iPhone. I don't think there's anything really you have to set up. I'm not sure.
I'll check into it.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right, good. We'll talk next. We'll give our experiences next week.
All right. Us
Okay.
old people.
Yeah, as old people. That's right. I don't want to be old. I want to be young. Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Old is a state of mind.
It is.
Yes. Yeah. We
Yeah.
don't know what state we were in.
Yeah. Yeah. But I just think that the reason I'm talking this up and promoting it, I think it's something it is a security thing. It's much better than a standard credit card. You really, it really is it's nothing to be scared of, or it works very well. And the other thing that's interesting, Gordy, is this, which I found out when I was researching this. So of course, you understand that we use NFC, which is near field communication, to broadcast, and it communicates with it, right?
Yes.
So the question though is, if you use your credit card and you tap and you pay, you actually take the card and you tap the device. I always wonder how that works. And in fact, what happens is there's a chip in the credit card, right? But there is no battery in the credit card. There's no power in the credit card. The credit card gets the power to run the thing from an electromagnetic connection when you bring it down to tap it, it gets the power from the device to run it through the chip and make the circuit. So it's actually getting it. So one of the things that's interesting, I don't know if anyone's experienced this, you go and you tap it, your credit card, not the phone, but you tap it doesn't work. But if you take it and you hold it, you don't just tap it, but you hold it longer and take it off, and it works. And that's because it's taking time to get that circuit and make the circuit go through. So that's the two different technologies. One is a radio signal, NFC broadcasting, and the other is this tapping it, where it sucks up the power. So anyway, much better. The phone's much better. I like it. It's cool, and everyone should
Yeah, and it's easy.
It's real easy. Bill, go ahead.
Yes, I was wondering, is there any chance of scanners that can be picking up your NFC and charging you without knowing it, like they do with credit cards?
It would be not. It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
First of all, the NFC only broadcasts maybe an inch, right?
Near field.
It's really close, so
Right.
it's only about an inch, and it only is on for. It's not always on. So when you go and you bring up the credit card to pay, it turns itself on. Not sure how long it stays on, but it's not very long. And then you just take your phone and you hold it right over the device, and it completes the transaction. The other thing is the transaction is just a transaction. Is a complex transaction code that's encrypted, right? So even it wouldn't be any information they could get, right?
You froze, Ron.
I think I got what he was saying, though.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Are you okay? So it's encrypted. So if it wouldn't work, there'd be nothing that they would get. And this technology has been around a long time and is used by a lot of people. So it's not like we just discovered this or it's something new. This has been, Bob, how long have you been using it for?
Not since I got my Pixel 5. And that's, I guess, 3 years.
3 years.
So
So
I
Bob's
have
been,
not, yeah.
yeah, Bob's been doing it for 3 years.
Yeah.
So it's been around. This is not something it's new, but it is there. All right. Any other questions?
We get to go home early today?
We do. Bill, go ahead.
Yes, I was wondering for Ray how many outtakes they had to make those 28 different recordings. Any idea?
Good question, Bill. No, I don't. But just going back in and having to sing that same song over and over, which was so true back in those days. Today, the technology allows the band and the artist to be in different countries and make a song. So, but no, I don't know how many times he made a mistake and had to redo it even more.
Surprised they
How
couldn't
often-
just simply re-record the school names and insert. It's a simple cut and paste.
I don't know if they had that in 1959.
No,
No, I
probably
don't
not.
think so. No,
Probably not.
That's before the internet, right?
Yep.
Oh, then some.
Joel, go ahead.
One point, being in college radio station, there was cut and paste. You were cutting physical tape and splicing it. So yes, there was cut and paste.
Very good.
But going back to our questions on Apple Pay and such, I know that there are laws limiting your exposure, your risk of loss with credit cards. The banks have to absorb so much. My question is, does Apple Pay, Google Pay, or similar fall under the same laws? Who is the bank that might be liable for loss and theft?
Yeah, and so the answer to that question, Joel, is really you got to remember you're still using the credit card. The only thing the phone is doing is creating a digital ID for you. It's just providing the ID to access the credit card. It's not you still have all the benefits of the credit card and everything to do with the credit card. It's nothing. It's only providing the login or access. Okay.
Now I have to get a new phone with near field. My my Motorola G Power, I do not believe has near field. So I got to swap out phone.
Well, how old's your phone?
Don't know, probably 3 to 4 years.
It may have it. It's been around.
I have that phone, Ron, and it does not.
It does not. Okay.
I've asked its help screen as a way of finding an on-off switch, and the help screen doesn't know what near field is.
All right.
Yeah, if it's a 2020 model or 2021, it doesn't have it.
Really? Okay.
I believe you're correct.
Okay. Sandy?
Yes. I wanted to comment about the older user of this technology. I just I just signed up with a new fellow to mow my yard, and I said, "Can I just pay you with an online service?" He's about 30 years younger than me. And he said, "Well, I've been meaning to sign up with one of those." So he told me he had signed up with Venmo, but had never used it. So I went into my Venmo, which I don't use that often, and sent him his money, and he texted back and said, "Oh, it worked."
There
So
you
I was leading the younger people. And then I wanted to comment that I use Calibre all the time, and I've used it for years. I use it to change. I have the add-ons to change the DRM and so on. And it does take monkeying around. You have to use an older edition and everything, but I really appreciate using that.
Yeah,
So-
when I started to put that presentation together, I was under a totally different impression of what
Yeah.
Calibre was and how it worked
Yeah.
and so on. And so I had to change what I was going to do
Yeah,
in
I
each
imagine.
screen. So,
But
and
I really
apologize.
enjoy it. Yeah.
And I apologize that it didn't come out clear. I will post it on my website or on my YouTube channel as an individual video, and then Ron will swap out the time with the one that works, and so you'll be able to read it and watch it.
Yeah, they just ask for donations, and every once in a while I'll send them, a little bit, because I appreciate having it so much, but it's really a good program.
Thanks. Ruth, Diane, go ahead.
Unmute. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
I may have asked this question before, and if I did, I apologize. I'm using OneDrive, and which is Microsoft, and I have a document in Publisher. And of course, I was saving all that to Publisher. I recently tried to share that, and OneDrive will not access the Publisher because it's not one of their online programs. Is that correct? I can't get it to share. It keeps saying it won't find it.
Now, just to refresh my memory, Publisher is the Microsoft
Publisher,
website designer. Is that right?
Oh,
it's not
Yep.
on the website. I think that's the problem. I pay for it through 365 because I need it in my job. Well, I don't pay for it. They pay
Right.
for it. But I want to share it with the office, and it won't share it through the OneDrive unless I'm doing something wrong. And I thought I knew that pretty well.
Is your office, is it a different account? Is the OneDrive that you're trying to share it with, is it a different account?
Well, no, it's my account, but I gave them the login because it's just right down the road.
I believe you should be able to share it. Make sure that you're using the same Microsoft account, and make sure that you've got it set up to be able to be edited, or there's some other settings other than sharing. Some sharing they can download it, some they can actually edit, and so you have to give them permission to do that.
Yes, I did that.
Have you tried using the online? No, Publisher isn't an online program.
Yeah, that's what I just found
yeah.
out when I went up under new, because I have in my Windows Explorer, I have two notations there of OneDrive. One has the cloud icon, one has a file folder. So they both have the document in it. So when I went on the cloud and I did all the sharing stuff and all that, I tried to access it myself, and it won't even let me access it. Then it wants to search my hard drive.
If it's
Which
got the
the other
cloud on
person-
it, if it has the cloud on it, Diane, have you done a right click and say save also to your computer?
Do I have, I thought I saved it to OneDrive, so I have, what you're saying is maybe I have to save it. Well, it is saved to the computer because I have it saved on my hard drive. I have it saved on an external drive. I have it saved on 3 flash drives. I mean, this is a 44-page newsletter document. And so I have it saved everywhere. what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to share it with the girl in the office who can edit it and finish it when I'm not available. That's
Uh,
my ultimate goal.
I haven't done that, but I'll
Uh,
see if I can play around and see if there's
Diane,
a setting or something.
I
Yeah,
have a question. When you right click on the file that's on that's in OneDrive, do you see where it says share?
well,
Right click
hold
on the document that you have stored in OneDrive.
and right click on it. Yes, it says share.
Okay, click on that. And now you'll have to put in whoever the individual you're sending to, her email address.
Yeah, I see that.
Okay.
Well, I did that too, and then I thought I did that, but maybe I didn't. This looks so familiar to me.
Diane, how are
Okay,
you
so-
opening the file?
Well, she doesn't need to open it. She just needs
Yeah.
to right click on the document that she wants to share. And then
Right,
in
and
the
then
context menu, she'll see share. And then she'll click, enter the email address that she wants to send it to. It'll also ask her what kind of permissions, that if it's going to be for her to be able
Yeah.
to edit or to read only or whatever. I don't know what the words are, but you know which correct one you want to do. If it's
Yeah, well, I can't, right now, I can't remember the email the girl I sent it to, and it's not coming up, but yeah, you could message it, and then it says anyone can, with this link, can edit.
exactly. And then
And
when she
that's-
receives it, she'll
Uh-huh.
click on it. It'll then it should pull up the document. Now, one or two things will happen if she has the there is an online version of Office, and I forget if Publisher is a part of that, because Publisher
No,
is
it's
weird
not.
because
no,
Publisher is a desktop application and not a web application.
Yeah, that's right. That's, we've always used Publisher. I've thought about changing it, but if you know anything about Publisher, I like it because it has a desktop for me to save
Right.
stuff.
So I have not. If she has Publisher on her computer, she
She
should have
does.
no problem.
And that's the whole point. They are the office down the road from me. I work for the community, only I work out of my house. We all have a licensed version of 365 that the office purchased. So we all have that same license. You would think that I'd be able to share with her,
Yeah,
right?
I think you well go ahead and try it again, and make sure you right click, put in her email address, and see if she can. And when she gets it, she should be able to pull it up.
Okay,
one,
I'll try that. Down at the bottom, it also says copy link. You know, it's kind
correct.
of, it says
One of the
info.
options you have is to share the link. And what you're doing is you're giving permission to anyone who has the link to access that file. So you
Yeah,
can
that's
simply copy that link, and then when you find her email address, send her the link. She'll then, through that link, be able to get to that file.
So I have to put the link in there. There is a place for message.
yeah,
Yes.
that'll work as well.
Yep.
Okay,
So Dan, let us know how that works next week, eh?
I'll try that. Thank you very much.
All right. Bill, we have to leave. Have you got a 1 second or less question?
Yeah, Jim Gold put up a thing about the clear sharing of files that you and Hewie were having issues with just before they left on vacation. So might look that up.
Okay. Thanks a lot. All right, everyone. Goodbye. We'll see you next week, same time, same place. And have a great week.
Have a
Bye,
good
everybody.
holiday. Bye bye.